So, at 9 p.m. on a random Monday evening, I decided I desperately need to get my yarn stash and my project organized. And I want to film a video where I show you. Miky is drinking. He didn't drink all day. So I want to tippy tappy tippy tappy tip. I want to film a video where I show you all my work in progress, unfinished objects, all the things like this, like all the ongoing projects. No matter how like long ago I started them, I will want to show that to you. But this year I want to work mostly from my stash. I have a few projects in mind which I know I will need to get yarn for, like a sweater and a cardigan. But other than that, I want to work through my stash as much as possible. And I do have projects in mind, but first I need to clear my needles because currently I don't have free needles to start any new project. Except socks. I have sock needles. But yeah. So let's see what we're working with. So yeah, this is most of it, not all of it, because there is like 2 big cones and another box in the wardrobe, but I'm not going to take them out because the cones, I know what they are. Actually, some of the cone yarn was already like caked up in that box over there, and it already has a project assigned. I already swatched for it. It will be a giant crochet octopus. Yes. But so I'm not gonna take the cones out because they are fine where they are. And another box I need to find. I don't even know which wardrobe has it. So yeah, so this has a bunch of projects. This is a frocked project. This is a bunch of yarn prepared for a project, wannabe sock, unfinished project, sock, new yarn, leftover socks which will go to my sock blanket, more yarn, project. That box is entirely full with projects which are not finished, and that is full with yarn. Yes, so that's what we are working with, and I do want to organize them and do want to back up things which already have assigned projects for them, you know, to make my life easier. So when I'm ready, I just cast on and go. So that thing, which is a frocked project, I already know what project will that be, but I want to put it in a proper project bag to know, you know, when I have clear needles, just grab and start. That's it. So that's the plan. So I think I will just turn on some audiobook or maybe the doctor, and let's see where I get tonight. Excuse my messy head. I was home all day in a comfy sweater. It's so windy here right now and so cold. I needed to make soup and a bunch of tea to keep myself warm. And yeah, I wore my knitted socks and sweaters, but it was not enough today. So let's get going. So I couldn't let it go and I went and checked, and turns out I don't have one more box of yarn because I already rearranged stuff in the spring or so. So that's non-existent, and I did check on the cones and they are on a good place, wrapped in a plastic bag, so they should be good to not get any insects or anything in them. So that's all what we have, excluding embroidery. So all my embroidery stuff are nicely packed in a drawer, so this is not included. So I filmed all the process, like all of me packing out of the boxes, checking what is in the bags, but I decided to speed it up a little for you because it was a long. I spent all evening / night working on this. Well, night since I started at 9 p.m. And So first I took everything out, but not in a pile because I mostly know what I have. I just needed to rearrange, reorganize, and I decided to try to make a structure in the chaos and put all the projects in one side of the couch and all the yarn in another side of the couch, and separate the already put together yarn for future projects. And Mickey joined me, so you can see who is making noises in my videos whenever there is tippy tappy or drinking noises. Of course, I didn't have the heart to speed up the part where Mickey is there. But back to organizing. So I checked my projects, and there were some which didn't fit in their project bag anymore, so I needed to find them a better place. Or some of them were in random plastic bags, and I needed to find a better solution for storing them. I have this really cute vintage project basket, and it hosted all the yarn, mostly from trip to Germany when I was in university, and like old projects which I never finished. So I took everything out and I rearranged. I used this as sort of a nightstand beside the armchair in the living room where I keep my books which I'm reading or my current project. So I needed to empty out everything I want to work on, and I decided to pack inside only things which I don't use that frequently, like packaging materials or sewing stuff, because I sew only like a few times per year. That sounds silly, but yes. So I don't need it that often. So yeah, I have this huge crocheted bag or like basket where I decided to put the projects I want to currently focus on and keep them in the living room. And as you see, it's still the same process. So I open up the box with the projects inside, move the two big projects from the small bag to a bigger bag, and put them in the project pile. Make sure that everything I need are included in the project bag, and empty project bags are on the side because I will use them for other projects as well. Sometimes I needed to check what is in what bag because I knew what projects I have, but sometimes as I am rehoming them, I don't remember which bag contains which one. So that's the process. And it was so good feeling when I finally could empty out one big basket. When I had an empty basket, I decided to put back the projects which I know I'm not focusing on right now, or projects which I will need to find the pattern for, or the hook for, or things like that. More about this later in the video. I had more projects that I remembered or like I expected. You know, when you know what you have, but you don't realize how big amount it is until you see it and touch it and have it in front of your eyes. So, yeah, it was a bit alarming and actually explained why I don't have any free needles anymore and why I need to finish some of them. I like to have more projects on the go so I can switch between them, but this is a lot even for me. Opened up the boxes which contained old yarn or vintage yarn or yarn I got from grandparents, my mom, or other friends. And also, I have a box in my drawer in my office desk where I keep, you know, special yarn or yarn which I already caked up for socks or such. And I made sure that I know what is where, and I decided to move some projects or some yarn to other places. Also, I reorganized and rearranged yarn, which goes in the bigger box, the bigger cardboard box, because I wanted a different system. In the future, I plan to buy another organizer, you know, the one with plastic drawers where I can keep everything together. But I'm not there yet, and I need to reduce my stash and my WIP number significantly to get there. So that's what I did. I made sure to keep yarn together, which I already decided to use for certain projects, and either put them in a bag or just bag them up in a plastic bag so they don't get mixed up in the box. I usually don't cake up yarn before I start to work on the project, but there are some which is already done because I needed to swatch or things like that. What I do now is to keep my sock loving energy going is that I cake up sock yarn beforehand. So when I finish one sock, I already have one ready to continue or start a new pair. So here I am just sorting through yarn. The basket which I'm currently working through contains all my yarn. It's mostly cotton, but there are some silk, there are some pure wool from Retrosaria Rosa Pomar, from Mondim, or silk from Knitting for Olive, or things like that. There is a big skein of DK weight yarn from the Czech Republic, which I bought in a craft fair, which was a really lovely experience. So things like that. All the yarn I try to keep in this plastic box so the moths cannot get into it. But of course, it's not feasible at the moment because I just have too much. I mean, too much for me. Maybe this is a good size for someone else. Maybe this is not even enough for someone else, but it's currently too much for me. Yeah, as you see, I'm bagging up yarn together, which I know will go in the same project or which are the same type. And sometimes I'm just tying up loose ends or making a better ball of yarn out of smaller pieces. What I try to do is to keep similar types together, so all the cotton are on the bottom of the basket or box, and then silk is on the top in one side, and then wool is on the other side. So try to keep all the types which are similar together, fingering weight together, DK weight together, but from the same material. I found some old projects which I will never finish, so I decided to unravel and claim back the yarn so I can use it for something else. I have some really, really soft cotton yarn which I like to use for baby accessories or baby clothes. So there's always good to have some on hand when someone has a new baby. I generally don't like to knit with cotton, but I love to crochet with it. I feel like it has a better structure and a better hold for crochet, and it just a little bit hurts my hand when I'm knitting with it. But I already know there will be a big project for me, which will be knitting this year, because I have a lot of different shades of the same cotton yarn, which is Sahenmeier Catania, and it's a fingering weight, and I want to make a dress out of it which will be knitted. So that's coming this year. Let's see how I can manage that and how long will it take for me. It is also good to go through my stash every once in a while because I might remember that I have a certain amount of some yarn or of some color, and turns out I don't, or I have double the amount which I remembered I have. I know if I would put all my stash to Ravelry, then I could avoid this, but I don't want to do that because honestly, it's just too much of a fuss, and I don't want to make too many pictures or sit there for hours to register everything. I just like to see the yarn, touch the yarn, and get inspired. And if I have a project in mind, then just start it. I don't need to go through the whole system to figure out if I have this or that. At this point, I realized that I don't have enough space for everything, at least not in one spot. I would really, really love to have everything in one spot. In our previous apartment, when we lived in Prague, we had a bed with drawers, and one drawer of the four was entirely for my crafting supplies. That was great because apart from that big, big drawer, I only had one box in the wardrobe, and that's it. So I could reach everything easily and oversee what I have. I didn't have to unstack boxes or pack out bags and bags of stuff just to reach to the bottom of it. That's part of the reason why I would like to have a different system. But for now, we make do with what we have. And I found yet another project which will never be finished. It actually never intended to be finished because it was a trial for a later Christmas gift, and that Christmas gift happened in 2020. So it's a long resting project, and it's time to unravel it and claim back the yarn because it's one of the most beautiful red I have in cotton yarn. Also, I found my poinsettia project, which was a crocheted flower head accessory, and I actually have all the pieces made, I just never assembled it. That will be a project for this year. Hopefully it will be done by this Christmas so I can wear it because it really looks lovely. Okay, now we got to a better stage where we can actually close boxes and not open them, which is always reassuring. But it just made me realize how much I have, and I really, really need to work through them. There are bits and pieces which need to find homes, unfinished projects which need to move into project bags. Oh, yeah, that's the unraveling of the project which I mentioned before. Yeah, there are many of these things, and I actually frogged quite a few projects last year, which were design ideas or things I started and then fell out of love with them. I probably need to become better with riding the design high or the love for new projects, because many times I start to design something and I'm super happy about it. I mean, design for myself. And then I get off track because something else distracts me or there is something I need to focus on with work, and then I put it down. And when I put it down, then it just rests for a long while and then it's really, really hard to pick up. I got much better in taking notes since I do them digitally, but still it's challenging to pick it up when, many months has passed, sometimes even many years. So yeah, I wrote quite a few projects last year and I see that happening in the future too. We are in the final stretch. As you see, the boxes are mostly closed, and I'm just trying to find homes for those bags which contain future projects yarn together. So I already assigned yarn to projects I want to start this year, but I want to keep these projects together, so I went and grabbed another box. Oh, and I found the yarn which I thought I don't know where it is. It's mostly vintage yarn, one cone, and a lot of individual balls, and I already know what I'm doing with them. So yeah, I found an extra box where I can host the yarns which I want to keep together for future projects. The blue bag is my first ever yarn advent. It was a Doctor Who themed yarn advent, which I love, and I will talk about it more in the upcoming videos. Last stretch, really, last moment when I pack away all the remaining yarn, try to find a home for everything which belongs together, and then I would just stack everything up, and then comes the next phase of the work when I need to record everything digitally so I don't lose track of my projects anymore. Last small boxes to pack, I decided to pack unfinished designed projects out of a bag and put them safely in a small shoebox, which would be better. So, I think I got to the end, at least for now. Um, we'll buy a storage thingy, like with drawers, a plastic one. Yeah, Miky had enough of my madness. So this one goes to the drawer on my work desk, so I can easily access it. And there are some already wound up sock yarn because I'm in a sock knitting frenzy right now. Who knows how long it lasts, but I make it easy for myself to cast on the next one when I'm finished, because this just keeps me going. Yeah, so those are already ongoing projects, both in that box and here. I know it's a lot. There it has like packing stuff and like sewing stuff and cords and miscellaneous. And then this box is projects which I already know what they will be, so just the yarn is together, I just need to keep them somewhere. And here there's a big project, like a huge amount of yarn for one project which I want to make, but I cannot start it yet. Plus a lot of acrylic yarn and yarn which are leftovers and I don't know what to do with them yet. So they just wait. This huge box is full of yarn, like mostly cotton, a lot of fingering weight sock yarn, not sock yarn, but like fingering weight yarn, and some DK weight, which are like one skein each, and I don't know how I will incorporate them, and some leftover retrosaria yarn, and a lot of silk. I kind of fell in love with silk and last year, so when I ordered yarn for test knit, I ordered extra because I had free shipping from Knitting for Olive. So I ordered a bunch of silk yarn. Mostly I know what I want to do with it, but I didn't bag them up yet for projects because I might change my mind. So it's just in the yarn box, sort of. This one is projects which I need to finish, but they are not really like whips, because one of them is something I am designing. I already made it once and I need to recreate it and write the pattern. That's my first crochet design thing. and there are 2 projects which are almost done, but you need to assemble them and weave in the end. So I don't really count them as whips, but I need to get to that. That's an empty project bag. That's the first wound up yarn for the big octopus I will crochet this year. And this is yarn I won on a giveaway on Instagram from Sarah. Hi Sarah, thank you for the prize. I love it. And turns out I already started to swatch for it, so I have the needles there. I thought I don't have the needles, so that's ready to go when I'm finished with some stuff. But I seriously need to finish some projects. It's a lot. It's overwhelmingly a lot, and there are a lot of things which are not on Ravelry because they were started well before I got a Ravelry. So like in 2013, 14, 15, things like that, when I didn't have Ravelry yet. So actually I need to take some time and check only the projects and check what is on Ravelry and what is not, and update yarns and update needles and hooks and things like that, and then I can progress with them. And the plan is to empty, so these are the same size, the pink one and the blue one. The plan is the pink one is full of projects, and the plan is to empty that one, so get all the projects done. I really want to get my ongoing projects down by half, which is still will be a lot, but it always will be a lot because that's me. Hello, that's me. And yeah, but I want to get it down because I really want to have free needles and free hooks for times when I just have some castonitis, or you know, when I have new ideas or inspiration or new yarn or whatever. So I want to have this freedom of being able to start new projects, because right now almost all my needles are occupied. All my interchangeable needles are booked, occupied in projects, and hooks not that much because I'm not into crochet right now that much. I love it. It's just long term it hurts my hand, so I'm trying not to do it as much. Yeah, I forgot what I wanted to say. Oh yeah, so I want to get my ongoing projects down by half, and I want to buy this storage drawer thingy with 3 drawers. It's a plastic stuff, and I hope to be able to fit all my yarn in there. So yeah, that's the plan. I want to reduce my stash in a way that it fits into the drawer. I know it's not huge compared to other people's, but it's quite significant, knowing that we are kind of living a mobile life, so we know we will move internationally and again at one point, and I don't want to worry about losing boxes of yarn and projects. And I actually want to use what I have, so I'm inspired, I feel hyped, so that's the plan. So this is, let's say it's a pre-organization. And yeah, when I get the drawer I will continue, and then we will see. So decided to do the project Ravelry update thingy tonight because why not? So got my computer because I'm always filming on my phone, even though I like to use the Ravit app on my phone instead of the Ravelry on the web browser because it's easier for me. I like to do most of the things on my phone. But yeah, but since I'm filming with my phone, I need to use the computer for project uploading, tracking, modifying, whatever. So now I will just go through all the projects. Those are all the projects, knitting and crochet, and check what is on Ravelry and what is not on Ravelry, put it on Ravelry, and check if I marked needles, hooks, yarn, whatever. So yeah, that's the plan. Let's go. I took the laptop, I just turned on a cooking show. I ended up watching some Korean Master Chef competition thingy. But anyways, I took the laptop and I just opened up project bags one by one. Most of them were already on Ravelry, but sometimes I needed to figure out the yarn and record from the yarn labels, or switch amounts, or just mark the hooks. Sometimes I forget that, but when I know I put some project on hibernation or something like that, I always make sure to mark the hook or the needle there. So in case I forget, or cannot return to it for a while, I will have all the info I need. So I'm just going through one by one, making sure that everything is recorded, everything is logged on Ravelry. For the new projects, it's just confirming, yeah, I have it, yeah, everything is there. So that's why some bags go really, really fast. And then soon we will get to the older projects, which are from COVID times or even older, like from my university years when I didn't even have Ravelry. And of course, I didn't note it on paper and didn't leave a mark for myself. And then the hook is not there or things like that. I found quite a few projects which I didn't finish, but I got excited about them and I hope to finish them this year. That's also a good exercise for that, to reignite your love, your excitement for your projects which are in hibernation, or maybe decide to say goodbye to them and drop them. And some of them are really silly. Like, for example, the one I'm recording right now, I crocheted this last year, and most of the things are recorded already. And what is missing is to assemble the pieces and sew a lining. So it's a crochet bag. And I know I could sew it by hand, but I actually want to sew the lining with my sewing machine and really just assembling. How long does it take? So I will talk about it later in another video, but I actually, when I took out some of these projects to finish them, then I started to time myself to see how much work I actually put off and not finishing. Did the same thing with every project one by one. And at the start, it was easier because they were current projects, which are already quite well noted. But then I needed to take a break and get some tea. And then I got to the older projects, which actually don't have all the info or don't have the hook, and sometimes were no patterns because I usually like to design from head. Yeah, Miky time. I needed some relaxing doggo time. So you can see the big guy. He likes to be beside me whenever I'm working or crocheting or anything or things like that. But he's not that interested in yarn, so it's always safe from him. Yeah, I got to the older projects and then it got hard because sometimes there are projects which are almost finished, but maybe the size is not good anymore because I did it 13 years ago. So I need to revise. Or I had an idea and I vaguely remember the idea, but I had no notes on how I wanted to do that. So I need to refigure out everything. There's actually one project, a pair of slippers, where one of the slippers is done and the other one is half done. And there was a design, and I remember that I struggled with that design. I made it up by myself, and then the design part is missing, and I need to recreate it by myself. Oh yeah, snack. I needed a snack to give me some energy to continue. I really didn't want to leave it halfway done and face it in the next morning because I know it. Then I would just put it off and just move the boxes from one place to another. So it's better to go through everything since I'm already in there and doing it. This whole process was both exciting and overwhelming. Exciting because I got to see and touch my old projects, and it got me thinking of continuing it. I got this energy back, or this willingness, or this feeling to get back to it and just do them and just enjoy the final product, or even the process. I really like both the process of it and the final product. And it was overwhelming because I had way more projects than I actually thought I have. Or like, when you don't know the amount, actually, you remember the individual parts, but it doesn't add up in your head. And now I had that. So yeah, it was a little bit scary, but I'm really, really glad that I did this. And I'm super glad that I put finally everything on Ravelry. It will make everything so much easier on the long run. And here it is from another angle, just to see the amount of projects I'm dealing with. This is a weird angle. So I finished recording all the projects to Ravelry, even like projects from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, which are, surprise, surprise, not finished. And something I noticed is that I am really not good in keeping notes before I started using Ravelry. Since I have Ravelry, I always log the new projects, like the yarn or the hooks, immediately. So later, even if I take the needles or the hooks out, I can still know what I'm doing and with what. And with the old projects, that's not the case. So for example, I have a half done crochet bunny where I don't have the hook or the hook size. I'm guessing I used the hook from the what the pattern said, but I will need to swatch something to see if my tension is the same, because I think, well, I always crocheted, always. So in the last, like, I don't know, 10 years, I crocheted really evenly. I learned to knit and crochet as a kid. So I don't think my crochet tension changed that much, but I know that my knitting tension loosened during the years. So yeah. So we will see what I do with the bunny, but I'm now going through all my projects. I feel really hyped to work on them again, and having this, more organized space makes me feel like, accomplished, and makes me feel like, okay, yeah, let's do this. I can do this. I also finally, Ravelry has the goals, the challenge tab again for 2025. So I already set my goals for 30 projects, which I think totally doable. If I just finish all the things I have going on, I think I'm more than halfway done. Yeah. Let's see how many projects I have. Yeah, I needed to figure out the number. So I have currently 18 projects which need finishing. Yeah, we will see. We will see how much I get done. The goal is 30. Yeah, I think it's doable. Last year I had 27 at the end, so yeah, it goes fast, especially if I'm knitting socks. So yeah, we will see. Thank you very much for sticking with me. If I do get the drawing door thingy for my yarn in the upcoming days, then I will film that organization bit too. If not, then thank you very much and see you soon. Bye bye.